Hi, my name is Gayatri. Thank you for coming. We're here tonight to show our unwavering support and continued energy for Palestine. Donations received today will go to support Palestine Solidarity UK, who organise direct action across the UK with the aim to pressure UK leaders to call for an immediate ceasefire. I'll just tell you a little bit about the organisation. So Palestine Solidarity UK are taking on corporations that profit from the occupation, our government that still refuses to hold Israel to account, and the media that does not report the truth. Change in the UK can affect change in Palestine. The Israel occupation can only survive as long as the international community keeps supporting it. Funds from today are spent directly on organising protests and paying for technology, leaflets, equipment, and a small staff team. If you have the means, we encourage people to keep donating regularly. So, a bit of housekeeping. Please do look after yourself today, however you need to. It's a relaxed event, so please dip in and out. There is a quiet space downstairs, and if you want to go and eat and drink and go to the loo that is just behind you or downstairs, please do that. You can sort of make noise, stretch, all the things are invited. So there'll be about an hour worth of poetry, and then we'll have about a 15-minute interval, and then we'll have the second half, which is a bit shorter, about 45 minutes. We are filming tonight, and the cameras are there and there, but they're pointed towards the stage, so people's faces won't be in it unless you're a poet on the stage. And yeah, that is the last thing I want to say. It's been a lot to sort of take in what's happening, and I think having an evening alongside marching and donating to listen and process and grieve together and to re-energise together, that's what I hope this space can be. Okay? And our first poet tonight is Elham Shaker. Elham is a BAFTA-nominated producer, curator, writer, and translator. She runs Hakawati, meaning storyteller in Arabic.
Full room. Thank you, Gayatri, for bringing us together in a space that stands for freedom and solidarity. I'm going to read a poem called Not Just Passing by Hiba Abu Nada, translated by Huda Fakhreddin. Hiba Abu Nada was a poet, novelist, and educator. Her novel Oxygen is Not for the Dead won the Sharjah Award for Arab Creativity in 2017. We share the same birthday, 10 years apart, but Hiba's life was recently cut short. She was killed in her home in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza by an Israeli airstrike on the 20th of October, so 3 weeks ago. She was 32 years old. Not just passing. Yesterday, a star said, a light, little light in my heart. We are not just transients, passing. Do not die. Beneath this glow, some wanderers go on walking. You were first created out of love, so carry nothing but love to those who are trembling. One day, all gardens sprouted from our names, from what remained of hearts yearning. And since it came of age, this ancient language has taught us how to heal others with our longing, how to be a heavenly scent to relax their tightening lungs, a welcome sigh, a gasp of oxygen. Softly, we pass over wounds like purposeful gauze, a hint of relief and aspirin. O little light in me, don't die. Even if all the galaxies of the world close in, O little light in me, say, enter my heart in peace. All of you, come in. I just wanted to add that I really appreciate that we're raising money tonight for the Palestine Solidarity campaign. For me, this is in echo of the clear-eyed words of Ali Abdel Fattah, a British-Egyptian author, software developer, and activist who is wrongly imprisoned in Egypt. It's been about 10 years now. His writing, collected and translated in the book You Have Not Yet Been Defeated, is one of the texts that I go back to regularly, and I really recommend it. In the title essay, You Have Not Yet Been Defeated, in which he addresses the attendees of RightsCon in 2017, writing from the Torah prison, he urges people to remember 4 simple points. The first being to fix their own democracy. And I wanted to share this because I come back to this simple but very fundamental point often, and I think it's really important more than ever that we bolster the spaces that enable us to keep standing in solidarity with Palestine. So this includes the PSC, but also organisations like Pal Action, Liberty, or ELSC, which is the European Legal Support Centre, which you can refer to if for any reason you've been undermined because of your support for Palestine. I know that's been happening a lot. And as other 3 points, also bear mentioning here, don't play the game of nations, defend complexity and diversity, and assert your right to be a creator and not just a consumer.
Thank you, Anna. Next, we have Jess Moraine. Jess is a queer poet of British Caribbean heritage. Her practice also spans performance, live art, and film. Her pamphlet, One Woman Horse Show, is published with Bad Bretty Press. Can you hear me okay?
Hi everyone. Firstly, thank you, Guthrie, for having us and for organising, and for Common Press to host. I was thinking about how important it is to mobilise and organise in person, and I've been thinking a lot about how we can share resources and how we can maintain and sustain collective unity in the fight to free Palestine. There are a lot of my loved ones in the room, and with that in mind, I guess I just wanted to share that I'm here to give voice to those who don't have loved ones any longer alive. I'm going to be reading some poets from Palestine, 2 poets whose work have struck a chord, and I thought maybe it'd be good to share their books tonight. One of them is reading for the Palestine Festival of Literature on Wednesday, so I'll share that event as well. Let's see if we can use this space to talk, to get busy. So I'll be reading a poem by Mohammed El-Kurd and Mossab Abu Toha. I'll start with Mohammed El-Kurd, whose collection is called Rifka. Crows. If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Malcolm X. There will come a day I'll walk in the crevices of crows, conversing off of cliched avenues. I will get into the elevator, blurry and bowed head, thankful not to be dead in this building of genocidal rhetoric, rheology, my strategy as I ask about the office, where opinion shapers rhyme my country with its cancer. And I will flip the conference table on the conference itself. I will tell them, I've mailed you fire last week. Did you receive my flames? They will imagine a rifle on my tongue and fix themselves, fetuses in the corner, cover their ears in fear of the firecrackers and horses and rockets I've stuffed in my bag. They will heave their proclamation, heed my perspective of current affairs. I'll hold my word to one of the men's heads, and he'll tremble as I press against his temple and say, say it, say it, say my name without spitting. No Moses in siege. Was it because there were no more graves in Gaza that you brought us to the beach to die? Was it because rubbling us in our houses like our cousins, like our futures, like our gods would be a bore? Was it because our cemeteries need cemeteries and tombstones need homes? Was it because our fathers needed more grief? We were limbs in the wind, our joy breaking against the shore. Soccer ball in between our feet. We were soccer in between their feet, no place to run, no Moses in siege. Waves stitched together, embroidered, weaved, unwalkable, indivisible passage, implausible. On most days, we weep in advance. We looked up to the clouds, got up on clouds. Here, we know two suns, Earth's friend and white phosphorus. Here, we know two things, death and the few breaths before it. What do you say to children for whom the Red Sea doesn't part? I'm changing to my phone now, so bear with me. Go slow. So this collection I found this morning on my good friend's dressing table. I was staying with her in Leeds and I was thinking about what to read and it was there in front of me. I wanted to share that just because sometimes there aren't anchors, but if you look for them, they're there. This is by Mossab Abu Toha from his collection Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear. To my visa interviewer, which one of me do you plan to interview? I am many. Some I don't even know. Need you interview my clothes, books, toothpaste, comb? My baby son's diapers and napkin? The food not yet digested in my belly. It will find its way before I get my visa. It will be travelled before I do. You will ask for my brothers and sisters' names. Some have passed away. Will you need their names? Do you plan to resurrect them? I don't know all their birth dates. I can only remember my younger brother's death date. He died on October the 14th, 2016. You will ask for all physical addresses in the past 10 years. We lived in North Gaza. During every Israeli assault, we were displaced, living in UNRWA schools, my aunt's house, or in the streets. You will ask for all email addresses and phone numbers used in the past 5 years. I used them only when the electricity was on and when someone was there to respond. I lost 3 dear friends in 2014, Hesat and Amar and Ismail. You will ask for my website. I am no spider, and my site is wherever a rose grows, wherever clouds cast their shadows on roofless houses, wherever a bomb does not fall, wherever a child does not confuse a cloud for bomb smoke. I'll end with saying, let's keep fighting. We have to keep fighting. Thank you.
Thank you. I have weak arms. Thank you, Jess. Next, Sana Asan. Sana is a poet, liberation psychologist, and educator. Sana's debut poetry collection, I Cannot Be Good Until You Say, is forthcoming with Bloomsbury in March 2024.
Hi everyone. How are you all doing? Yeah, it's a incredibly tender and difficult time. Can you all hear me okay? Yes. Okay, just checking. Yeah, I am showing up with a lot of tenderness and really feeling, navigating kind of the trickiness of being in relationship with my heartbreak, which is so heavily entangled with the heartbreak of the world, and working out how to be in relationship with grief in a way that isn't completely debilitating and immobilizing, and a way that can be a pathway of return to our brothers and our sisters and our siblings and our mothers and our children in Palestine. And I guess trying to really do that through re-inhabiting my body and being in relationship with grief in the body. And I think so much of this cruelty and this violence demands a disembodiment for us to be kind of disconnected from our hearts, from our humanity. And so I guess that's kind of been where I've been at a lot of my kind of meditation, and how we can use grief as a method of mobilization. And I've been writing something on that, and how poetry can also be a tool in that work. So I was going to read like a tiny excerpt. It's like 6-page, like like catharsis at the moment, you know. So I was going to read just like a tiny little paragraph of that as a point of entry into a really beautiful poem by Mahmoud Darwish, if that's okay. Yeah. Grief is more of a public than private event, though Western neoliberal myths might have us believing otherwise. Grief demands that we expose love and its immortal, disobedient direction of travel. Poetry, like grief, risks loving in public. The poem forms fascia between the individual and collective body, knowing that we are inextricably bound to each other. Rather than hold grief in isolation, each word pulsates tiny particles of sensation through a shared network of nerve fibre, cord-like tendon and bone. The poem not only operates as an embodying public revelation, it can and must reorient us towards the reality of this moment, fizzing consciousness of what we have been refusing to see. The poem is perhaps a place where we are no longer the centre of the universe, and another's heart becomes our own. This is To Our Land by Mahmoud Darwish, translated by Fadijullah. to our land, and it is the one near the word of God. A ceiling of clouds to our land, and it is the one far from the adjectives of nouns. The map of absence to our land, and it is the one tiny as a sesame seed. A heavenly horizon and a hidden chasm to our land, and it is the one poor as a grouse's wings, holy books and an identity wound. To our land, and it is the one surrounded with torn hills, the ambush of a new past. To our land, and it is a prize of war, the freedom to die from longing and burning. And our land, in its bloodied night, is a jewel that glimmers for the far upon the far and illuminates what's outside it. As for us, inside, we suffocate more. Yeah, I guess I have been really reflecting on what our role is as poets, as artists, in times of so much cruelty. How can we use craft as a method of illumination and a means of revolt, but also as, I guess, a site of kind of permission giving to show up in the messiness of being human. And so I guess with that, I just want to express deep gratitude for Gayatri and everyone here, because there has been an excruciating kind of plague of silence, and this real sense of kind of apathy, and it is so hard to get your head and your body around how that's possible in the face of so much brutality and so much death. And so I'm grateful for everyone in this room for showing up, and for the people that are taking the risk to actually step towards the discomfort, and to move towards resistance, in the most loving ways possible. I think what we're doing here right now is a method of showing love amidst lovelessness. And yeah, I'm grateful for it. So thank you all.
Thank you, Sana. Next, Keith Jarrett. Keith is a writer and educator of Jamaican heritage, and his poetry, fiction, and essays have been widely anthologized.
I see what you mean, like you need strong arms. And I've been thinking, thank you so much for that, Sana, as well. Like I've been thinking about that and humanity, and also thinking about humour and all of the other aspects of our humanity which we need to maintain. That is resistance, being able to laugh. And I was trying to think of anything funny that I had, and I don't. But what I do have is a poem that I keep coming back to, because I wrote it kind of as an invocation for myself when I am feeling a bit tender, and as a reminder of where I'm coming from personally. So it's just called Acknowledgements. We who have survived, we who have queered, fagged, puffed our way through the school system, we, the survivors of oppressive institutions and the sticklers and stonehearts that run them, we who have survived, we with glitter-proof ribs that once caved under the shadow of our parents' disapproval, we with pockets made of hand-me-down wounds, we of purse lips, handbag humour, zones 4, 5 and 6 commutes. We who once knew these streets by their bus shelters, who still know these streets by their old names, Racism Road, Homophobia Grove, Bigot Hill. We who know history's desire to repeat, who know progress is neither linear nor neat. We who do not take for granted. We who have survived the gentrifier's claw. We've seen our media, our companies, our governments parade themselves around rainbow flags and diversity awards at their fashionable convenience. We who have journeyed past this cluster of colonizing avenues, who have learned to sip heavily accented wine, who have washed our tongues in its morning after. We have loved beyond borders as we do not fear the other, though fear is never foreign to us. We who were born on an island and whose parents were born on another island, we have learned to build bridges, and we have learned to cross those bridges even as they burn with the fuel the politicians provided. We who never take for granted. We stand in love and in fury and in power. Like everyone else, I've been like scrambling around looking at this wealth of Palestinian poets, and sadly, I'm gonna repeat a poem that we've heard. A poet that we've heard from. You know, when I say sadly, what I mean is it's awful that I am discovering her partly as a bit because she was killed and just a few weeks ago. So this is from Hiba Abu Nada, and this poem is called I Grant You Refuge. 1. I grant you refuge in invocation and prayer. I bless the neighborhood and the minaret to guard them from the rocket, from the moment it is a general's command until it becomes a raid. I grant you and the little ones refuge, the little ones who change the rocket's course before it lands with their smiles. I grant you and the little ones refuge, the little ones now asleep like chicks in a nest. They don't walk in their sleep towards dreams. They know death lurks outside their house. Their mother's tears are now doves following them, trailing behind every coffin. I grant the father refuge, the little one's father who holds the house upright when it tilts after the bombs. He implores the moment of death. Have mercy, spare me a little while. For their sake, I've learned to love my life. Grant them a death as beautiful as they are. I grant you refuge from hurt and death, refuge in the glory of our siege, here in the belly of the whale. Our streets exalt God with every bomb. They pray for the mosques and the houses. And every time the bombing begins in the north, our supplications rise in the south. I grant you refuge from hurt and suffering. With words of sacred scripture, I shield the oranges from the sting of phosphorus and the shades of clouds from the smog. I grant you refuge in knowing that the dust will clear, and they who fell in love and died together will one day laugh.
Thank you, Keith. Our next poet is Hasti. Hasti is a British Iranian poet and writer and member of the first South Bank New Poets Collective.
Hello everyone. I'm Hasti. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes. Nice. Lovely to see you all. Yeah, thank you so much, Kirsty, for it's really nice to be in this room and to just be able to hear everyone say such beautiful things and Sana especially, I've been really feeling this just trying to figure out this, grieving at distance and how to, it's a bit heavy today, so I've just got a couple of, I'm just going to read 2 or 3 poems, I think. This one is by a poet called Lina Khalaf Tofaha, who is an American poet of Palestinian, Syrian and Jordanian heritage, and it's called Upon Arrival. You will need to state the reason for your visit. Don't say, because I want to walk down old roads and caress stone walls the color of my skin. You will need to state the reason for your visit. Don't say, because the olives are ready for harvest and I will coax the fruit from the trees, press it into liquid gold. You will need to state the reason for your visit. Don't say, because my parents' house still sits empty on a bluff overlooking the sea. The green shutters my grandfather had just painted remain sealed shut, and the army listed the property's owners as absentees. You will need to state the reason for your visit. Don't say, because I am carrying prayers in my suitcase for a people who wait, and I'll unfold them, embroidered linens of verse, and spread them out across the land. I think I'll do 2 more. This one is by an American poet called Cameron Awkward Rich, and it's called Meditations in Emergency. I wake up and it breaks my heart. I draw the blinds and the thrill of rain breaks my heart. I go outside. I ride the train, walk among the buildings, men in Monday suits. The flight of doves, the city of tents beneath the underpass, the huddled mass, old women hawking roses, and children, all of them, break my heart. There's a dream I have in which I love the world. I run from end to end like fingers through her hair. There are no borders, only wind. Like you, I was born. Like you, I was raised in the institution of dreaming. Hand on my heart, hand on my stupid heart. And this last poem is by an Indigenous American poet called Lady Long Soldier, and it's called Obligations to. As we embrace, resist, the future, the present, the past, we work, we struggle, we begin, we fail, to understand, to find, to unbraid, to accept, to question, the grief, the grief, the grief, the grief. We shift, we wield, we bury into light as ash across our faces. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hasni. Next, Jay Mitra. Jay is a British Indian punk poet, multi-slam champion and creative non-fiction writer based in London.
Hi everyone. I'm Jay. I'm going to start off with this poem by Nina Sarkar, and it's called Love Notes to Tired Anarchists. Mostly what will happen is you'll climb uphill and uphill and uphill, and you'll tell yourself that it's got to be long and slow, that you'll die before the big changes come, but you're paving the way, right? And someone is going to benefit from this, right? And someday they'll stop selling black bodies to prisons, right? And someday rape culture will stop being normalized, right? And someday the ruling class will stop devouring us, right? And someday your friends will stop being murdered, right? And then sometimes it will not be enough. And you will have to lay on the floor of the shitty apartment you rent in the upper of some house in a neighborhood you won't be able to stay in much longer. Since the streets are getting cleaned up by people who can afford fancy things like doctors and car payments, who don't even know about the body count rising daily, who say we're all exaggerating. And you lay very still in a hot room in the summer and feel the floor meet your spine, and you'll decide you can't anymore because it's too much, and you'll feel like maybe it's useless and we are all going to die. But there are still kids out there in the block with bricks, and there is still a legacy of you in your 20s feeding people for free. There is still a bandana in your pocket. There is still every poem you've ever written, demanding raised fists and raised voices. There are still parts of you that will never be afraid. There is still breath. There is still a way for roots to crack foundations. There is still an hour from now when you will get up off that floor. You are not Prometheus, you will choose this. And someone will see you choosing this. And someone will choose this alongside you. Even on the worst days, you will do this because you can't stop breathing. Thank you. I've been thinking a lot about art as resistance and art as self-care, and I think there's real value in just doing art to make, like a balm to what we're going through, what people are going through at the moment. And sometimes you might think of it as self-indulgent, but as Audre Lorde said, self-care is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare. So hold that close to you, hold art close to you, because for a lot of us that's what's going to get us through this. I'm going to be reading a few poems from Noor Hindi. Some of you probably come across Fuck Your Lecture on Craft, My People Are Dying, probably the most famous poem in this collection, but yeah, she's a Palestinian American poet, and I'm going to read a few of her poems. Okay, let's find it. This one is for Ruzan Al-Najjar, and it's called A Day, a Life, When a Medic Was Killed in Gaza, Was It an Accident? And what about the flowers on her scarf? Her white medical coat, now red, nails painted pink as a tongue, a sunset, a pomegranate. How tear gas forms clouds above the dead. How a land force-fed bullets and blood ruptures its stomach and swings it at a flag. Tell me why my people's deaths become a hopeless, endless conflict and the lives war waste. What murders become accident, unintentional, in the eyes of those who name my father's tears as unending and insolvable cycle of violence. Tell me about the 30 witnesses, interviews, and 1,000 photos and videos it took for you to name our resistance as drama. Tell me, in a country that allows 4 hours of electricity a day, how a people live in darkness, hold the keys to homes blown up by soldiers, while a mother clutches her daughter, now dead, takes off Ruzan's white gloves grieves the sun and its impenetrable light. Remember the toy stethoscopes Ruzan played with as a child, then stares into the eyes of an Israeli soldier and laughs. Okay, this next poem is called, if I can find it, Palestine. Palestine is a woman, a child in a thobe, olive pits in my hands, the tatteries on my grandmother's scarf. There's 34 Palestinians killed. We don't wake up. American politicians, occupied country. Israel has the right to defend itself. Ahed Tamimi. Ice cream on tongue, flavor unknown. Are you grateful your parents came to this country? 300 dead. Open air prison, 10-year blockade, Ruzan al-Najjar, accidental bullet, pomegranate so bloody. My grandmother, born 10 days before Nakba, gunpowder in her blood, stop killing us. Stop telling us how to fight. Is grape mint hooker, country I've never visited, woman, body bruised and policed, is queer, is fuck the patriarchy, is 300,000 Palestinians killed. My father, crying, to Umayma El Khalil, sweet black tea, fresh mint stuck on the roof of my mouth, two-state solution. We thought the house was empty. A stranger living in my great-grandmother's home, eating the pomegranates she once planted. How do you say your name again? Is Palestinians killed, sunflowers on their graves, seeds we crack between our teeth, spitting out each shell before digging another grave. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take a moment to have a breath, I think, because it is a lot in our ears, in our bodies. So maybe a deep breath together. And however we're responding, please know that's really welcome in the space. I was worried that I would sort of cry up here tonight, and I think that that has to be okay as well. And I was worried about like speaking in front of people and not being able to get words out, and that's also okay, because we can't get words out and then we can. You know, we rest and then we fight. I think we need to acknowledge like the process of what it is to keep fighting for as long as we need to. And that's also being weak sometimes and being stronger sometimes. Okay. Lovely. Next we have Layla Springer. Layla is a poet and writer from Dagenham. Layla's debut poetry collection, An Aviary of Common Birds, was published by Broken Sleep Books in August 2023. Thank you so much.
Hi, loves. I was like, it's a bit weird, let me just jump in. I'm so grateful to be here today. My poetry, like I was never really very comfortable performing, but it was in protest spaces that I found my voice. So I want to share a couple of things with you today. The first one is called War to End All Wars. And it has a bit of call and response. I feel like with this audience, you'll know what to do. So when I say Black Lives, you say... When I say no justice, you say
No peace.
Okay. When I say free, free, you say
Palestine.
That's it. Okay. Disassociation is a very fine thing. I float, unembodied, through factions waving placards dressed in blood, in earth, in bile. Heaven's fallen seraphim bellowing at the full passing clouds, obscuring them from God's languorous gaze. Black lives
Matter.
Black lives
Matter.
Cries echo over these palatial marble rooftops. Free, free,
Palestine.
free, free.
Palestine.
A black dog roves before me, sniffing and snipping through rustling, nascent wingtips alike. Our beautiful, hopeful youth, fists clenched, eyes wide, calling for the revolution. Black lives.
Matter.
Black lives.
Matter.
I try to find my stillness. No justice.
No peace.
I lead a call, I falter. No justice.
No peace.
I practice my self-soothing. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No end. The next poem I want to share is called Cousin Lament, and I'll be performing it this Saturday as part of a group which is doing performance as protest. It's called Grieve Into Love, and there will be musicians, poets, actors creating an installation piece outside Hackney Town Hall at 12 p.m, which will then go into a silent march, and there's the opportunity to make your own posters. And yeah, we're really just creating a space to transform, as Sam said, that grief into love, into action, and into beauty. The white corner where walls and ceiling met collapsed, wailing like mother from the next room. Head covered, ready to take flight at the scent of cement dust, fire, gore. Fingers pinched, she asked for God. Laundry basket, football socks size 11, never washed again. Grief so deep it turns to love, love so deep it turns to grief. Next door, a fragment of a garden chair is pulpit for Uncle's sermon. Voice cracking, he asks for God to curse their canals, their drones, their planes, to curse the oil that nature gave, the greed that clouds their sight, the wasteland where once were homes, the strength of our faith that it must be tested, the beauty of our children that they must be plucked, our power that it must be challenged. How mighty we must be, he loves. What a curse to be so bountiful that all they want is to take. Olive stones scattered on a kitchen table will one day grow groves. So before I do my next poem, we're also going to do another grounding exercise. If you want to do it with me, we'll do a little butterfly tap, and then I will share something called April showers. So what you're going to do is you cross your arms on the chest in front of your heart. You're going to rock yourself gently and just tap your collarbones. You can breathe out because that was a lot, right? So the next poem is called April Showers, and it is based on a letter that I wrote to my friend when they were going through a really difficult time. There is so much becoming to be done. The cries of other people's children echo through window of tile to rouse your aching breast. Days pass. Afternoon sun seeps into the pool of still warm water at your feet. Wait, wait, wait. It was all very good waiting for the one or two, but they were mind and body here all along. You don't have to run when it hurts to crawl. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know everything. And there's nothing wrong with you. Opening is so often breaking. Softening is so often hard. Mending hurts. Draws focus like the itch of a newly formed scalp. Try not to pick at yourself. Tip your toes past the confines of eggshell affection, through safety and solidity into roots. The space between is endless. Those who live there know. The space between is elemental, formless essence. Formless, shapeless, endless. Who knows how long, who knows how low? How deep the crevice, how sharp the slope. There is so much becoming to be done. The cries of other people's children echo through window of tile to rouse your aching breast. Days pass. Afternoon sun seeps into the pool of still warm water at your feet, over your aching knees, the tension of your hips and your taut jaw. But there's nothing wrong with you. Wait, wait, wait. Thank you.
Okay. The next poet before the interval is the Afronaut. The Afronaut is an Afro-Persian award-winning artist and trauma-informed educator engaged in allied inertia to liberate Palestinians, launching their PhD on systemically silenced and criminalized artist activists.
Thank you. And let's please really quick just take a moment to thank this wonderful human for taking the time and labor and energy and emotional labor and intellectual labor and all of the things to bring this night together. So I won't read the full poem, this full poem by Naomi Shihab Nye, a Palestinian American poet. It is my most taught with poem. I've probably taught with it with 5-year-olds as frequently as 8-year-olds. So it feels like it needed to come with me this evening. And the line that opens the poem is that before you know what kindness is, you must lose things. Angela Davis said, "Black solidarity with Palestine allows us to understand the nature of contemporary racism more deeply." We plead to each other. We all come from the same rock. We all come from the same rock, ignoring the fact that we bend at different temperatures. Shri Moraga. I am an enthusiast, not a rocketeer, but I would be exhilarated by the launch of each vessel carrying folks that were common once, now cosmonaut, now traveler of space. No illusion here, only heat. Guzzling, explosive rocket topped with people bodies sweating until the engine stops. and you suddenly find your hairpick floating. A slow dance of plastic comb, but despite your affection for this common thing, you still have to be wise to the others as they see your hair as the only hair on the ship that won't show signs of being in zero gravity unless it's abdicated from your own scalp. But my desire to leave here, leave atmosphere, leave breath, rainbows, and snowfalls behind is expanding. What I already know exists is possible. I have read about the laws of relative chattel gravity. But the dark matter of space still eludes scientists looking for motives for no light. Theories of the dark that wear hood and carry volatile refraction. I am made yellow bone, but not passing enough to stop white dwarf hands from making red of my bones try to integrate, and we get bullet clusters. It's the laws of space. I am not an astrophysicist. There isn't enough space in my gaping mouth for all of those bones and syllables and theories. But the proof of black stars is defined by the presence of luminous bodies orbiting what appears to be needless void, black. I am code switch trained to black hole, my AAVE. What's good? Mirrored, hello, officer. I see you, fam. Mirrored, yes, your honor. I ain't finna be there. Mirrored, I plead, I plead, I plead, I plead. When Sally Ride spoke of that feeling of breaking into zero G for the first time, she likened it to a gorilla pushing on her chest. Ain't that what it would be? I hope it was albino or blonde or anything but a pounding black. I am the new hire. But equal opportunity without equal equity is just another closed airlock. While begging ground control to end lockdown, I was sent out with only 3/5 the oxygen. Seems gender and color and faith give fuel to friction for entry into career titles. We make it through sometimes, but not without pushing through fiery atmosphere until things get hot enough to be burnt along our blunt bodies, just trying to pass, but still no passing here unless you are on the light side passing, but then your hairpick wouldn't be afloat. Your hair wouldn't be weightless boogie until you cage it like the others who don't chop it off before the mission. Maybe we weren't meant to stay here, cooped on this planet. How could we stay? Piled one atop another, only enough replacement sod for suburban sprawl. Ain't no sprawl here, only green in my hood is breaking concrete, trying to get light, trying to pass as garden or flower. But this color pushing peach gravel is unwelcome. Best remove it. Best control it. Best pull it out, watch it wither, dark. If only these grounds could be controlled. If only these grounds could be safety. Maybe it's time for black to go to the moon, to stay there. Yes, I am colored. I am the absence. I am the vacuum. I am the void. I understand the matter as it is dark. Still, we all come from the same rock. We all come from the same rock. We all do, not just the privileged. So I promised I didn't go out and buy a bunch of watermelon swag to do this like solidarity souvenir stuff. As a Black American, there's a history of watermelons being used to subjugate and to stereotype us. The watermelon has also been an image of solidarity, a symbol for solidarity for Black folk as well. I'm also Afro-Persian, as was mentioned in my introduction, and the watermelon is really this really special thing that has been mostly cultivated and mostly like tendered and made sweet by Africans and by Middle Easterners. So I started writing a poem called Watermelon Spoons because Persians go so deep with their watermelon that we got special spoons for it. Almost made it bling for tonight, decided not to. But I've been seeing so much art evolve from this symbol of freedom and symbol of fighting for freedom, that this piece that had begun as something that was just exploring my mixedness has become something very different. Watermelon spoons. When Auntie returned from the home country for the second time in 40 years, she brought Maman 10 watermelon spoons. You'd think our whole family was fitting to sell scoops at the block party, all lined up on the sidewalk like Ben and Jerry's sponsored a fair trades sharecroppers union in my hood, each of us with a spoon, a stack of cups, and half a great red seedless. Mr. Wesley in his lawn chair next to us with his cooler filled with 31 flavors of $1 sodas, a sort of cool, cold drink wise man dropping knowledge like, hey, little man, you got a scoop? Come on over here, I'm gonna make you a watermelon Sprite float, but don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody I didn't charge you no dollar for this scoop. Watermelon spoons are simple and hand-hammered. The whole rim cut with even, perfect triangle teeth. Mr. Ali's smile is so big, his teeth are like fantastic mountains. His tongue becomes a river when he speaks. He calls me my child. He tugs at a reddened cloth that adorns his neck. He sees my big seed eyes watching his hands fold and wrap this beautiful thing. He says, my child, it's the best to always wear something to help you remember. Most days, your tongue will dance with seeds, and most days, you'll need something to catch the overflow from watermelon juice and the sips that slip from your chin. I wonder what it feels like to be held like that, all in all in all. I wonder what it feels like to be all of something, like one place, not displaced, like one home for all, not a machine-stitched border. Like one love from collective faith, never a people chosen to drift, never a people chosen to be drift makers. I wonder, like one flag's perfect triangle arrow pointing to one home for all in all. I wonder what it feels like to be a black seed in the most fertile soil, in the most holy land, the most holy river's water, the river's water bright, red like the oxygen which fuels each fruit's growth. I wonder if Mr. Ali's scarf would be so red if he'd been served a bowl of perfect spoon-carved moons instead of handfuls of fleshy fruit. I wonder what my English would sound like without the music of watermelon seeds dripping from my mom. Thank you.
So, we're going to do this again. Yeah. Kobi Esa Ayencio is a poet, musician, and creative of many hats. Their work often explores their black, queer, trans identity ancestry, and decolonising the lens with which history is told using soundscapes and poetry.
Hello again. Yes, so what I'm going to be offering today is a musical soundscape as well as a poetic response. I hope it makes you feel something. It's kind of a reminder that we need to keep fighting. It is called, I should say what it's called, The Weight of Losing You. There will be marches in the streets of everywhere. The blood of imperial flags will stain our pavements, our hands, our money red, and we will hold our bullhorns to our mouths to halt time, death, to halt history for our people, Palestinian people, for there aren't enough ways to say these names. They will never just be pages, figures, they are breath, filled lungs, our collective lungs. They are first birthdays and breathless, giddy candle blowouts. They are hands that harvest olive trees for generations, bellies filled with homemade makluba. First queer kisses on home soil. And the world has failed them all, and rubble is not a synonym for home. And love is a choice. And we choose not to be helpless, and I speak, and we speak till our words become refusal of silence, become breakthrough, deafening grief, become hands that pull you from rubble, become prayer in the streets, become stop the soulless terror states, become restoration, become Palestine is free, become Palestine is free. Become Palestine is free, become Palestine is free in our lifetime. Now I know you sleep, even though you're not next to me. You still say your name, so you'll never
Thank you, Katie. Next, we have Isaac Spaitan. Isaac is a Palestinian rapper and poet born in the UK who thrives to be the voice of freedom.
What's good, everybody? We enjoying it so far, yeah? Yeah? When I say free, you say Palestine. Free? Palestine! Free? Palestine! Firstly, I want to say thank you to all of you as a Palestinian for coming out tonight. You know, when we're here, we're raising money, we're raising awareness. So, a round of applause for yourselves and for Guy Free and everyone else that put this on there. We got yourselves, alright? Obviously, it is a hard time as a Palestinian now. I go every year. My family live in the West Bank. I have some family in Jerusalem as well. You know, and it's very difficult. What's happening in the West Bank is not publicized as much as of Gaza. Obviously, what's happening in Gaza is disgraceful. It shouldn't be allowed in this day and age. All right. I feel like sometimes we forget that we're human, regardless of race, religion, gender, all of that aside. We are human beings at the end of the day. So with that, I'm gonna start with this first piece. This is called "What's Human." All right. What's human? Descendants of Isaac Newton. If an Israeli see a Palestinian, he'll shoot him. What's human? Go looting. The Mark Duggan shooting. Innocent humans, victims of a crime that still haven't been proven, or a racist movement with an agenda to remove them. EDL recruitment. It's a shame we are all the same, all live and die. That there's been proven, but still, that's human. We don't respect one another. Where's the love for a brother? My people dying every day, and we're forced to run away, but you expect us to stay with no human rights. Yes, this does happen today. But that's human. Children dying and starving, while others live in a £1 million apartment, or a man at a computer pressing buttons taking thousands. It's a game, bro, he's laughing. Is he doing a job, or did he kill a child while the whole family watched? He's a human. Diasporic movements. Now refugees forced to flee because another nation removed them, blown them up, broken down and abused them. Toxic fumes induced them, slowly tore them apart, and when they claimed their rights, the opposition refused them. But these are humans. Where's their rights? Promised to live safely according to the amnesties that were typed, but the truth there has been tamed, G. And in this day and age it amazes me how a guy can be oppressed, and 1,000 miles away in Saudi another Arab's blessed, selling oil to the guys that seem to be obsessed with the Middle East and Africa, but they're the lands that's blessed. Sudan is hella stressed, the West progress on the Arab conquest, and have sent thousands to their death. But these are humans. I just pray that one day we can come together and we can prove to them that no matter how we look or talk, we are all the same, we're all breathing. All of our family, and if they died, we'd all grieve them. We all live and die, we all told a lie. But what's life's meaning? We are humans, a multicultural movement, a natural force of nature that cannot be beaten. And if we help one another, there's nothing that can ever stop us achieving. So when you see one from another culture, please greet him. Don't violate, back chat and deceive him. Cause one day you may have nothing, and off his plate you could be eating. Please reason and think human. What really is the meaning? Thank you. Big up. There's been some heat tonight still. Some serious talent, some beautiful poems in it. So big up everyone who's come up so far. I'm going to drop a little tune for you now. This is called Freedom. Alright, this will be releasing in the next week. Video, everything just been shot recently, so hopefully you like it, yeah? Let's see what the levels are going to be like. Yo. This one's titled Freedom. Freedom for everyone. Not just Palestine. There's other countries that are suffering. Congo, Yemen, Sudan, even Ireland. Still lost half their country. Look. Say what's on my mind? So many questions about the death of a child. He's blown up dead. Israel's in the north. Let's talk about Ukraine, forget Palestine. They don't fit the narrative, it's fuzzy and white. It's like a room full of darkness and I am the light. A voice fully oppressed while all the media hide. They won't let me break through to what I'm speaking is right. I'll expose you all. It's such a truth of the light. I know I'll probably get killed in some miraculous style, but I will never stay silent, stay free Palestine. Free every single person to which the truth is denied. In a life of oppression, a living in apartheid. We stand for you, so raise your fist up high. Let's target their ears to make them open their eyes. Make you think with your hearts and start using your minds. Cause we all know the difference between what's wrong and what's right. Wanting freedom from Palestine, freedom for Yemen, freedom for Ireland, those in oppression, freedom for the Congo, 2 birds to them, and freedom to the kids throwing stones at the tents. In the West, you're like the blessed, you need to go and give thanks. I said, freedom from Palestine and freedom for Yemen. Freedom for Ireland, those in oppression. Freedom for the Congo, Cuba and Sudan. And freedom to the kids, throwing stones in the tanks. In the West, you're like the blessed, you need to go and give thanks. Unravel the propaganda and the truth will arise. Question everything and decipher their lies. If they still remain ignorant, then cut with their ties. It's all there to see. I hear their screams and cries. You see they won't publicize, dropping bombs at night on innocent people if their colour ain't white. So ask yourself, my brother, how is this right? I'm not in a place of power, all I have is this right. So I sat down to think, my hands started to write. And I refused to stay silent, so I'm joining the fight. We think life's hard in the streets on a dark cold night. But imagine your life, with a piece on the board for the government's back. Nobody steps in and the truth is denied. You're wiped off the map and you act like it's your right. What about Syria or Palestine's rights? What about the Congo where kids are forced to mine, dying in caves, all for the West to have a line? And what about Yemen, that's a Saudi-funded crime, killing all the innocents night after night? No Kashmir's disagreement causing thousands to die. And what about China with the concentration camps slowly on the rise? And what about refugees who sail across the seas, dreaming of a life that they may never reach, swallowed by the waves and then washed up on the beach? Oh, how can they allow all of these atrocities? How is it so different from the west to the east? We have two definitions when it comes to the word peace. I'm sincerely asking, please help everyone in you. Don't ignore the truth or judge you to beliefs. If they migrate to your country, ask them why did they flee? Because at the end of the day, you see, we all have a dream. Our dream is simple. We just want to be free. We all eat, sleep, love, hate and grieve. It don't really matter if your name is Ahmed or Steve. We have ambitions that we wish to achieve. So ask yourself, is it a want or a need? I'll leave you with a bar to keep your mind at ease. My message is simple, that every single person deserves to be free and treated equally. Learn from our mistakes, let's not repeat history. So I scream freedom for Palestine and freedom for Yemen. Freedom for Ireland, those in oppression. Freedom for the Congo, Cuba and Sudan. And freedom to the kids throwing stones in the tanks. In the West, their lives are blessed, to go in your thanks. I said freedom for Palestine and freedom for Yemen. Freedom for Ireland, those in oppression. Freedom for the Congo, Cuba and Sudan. And freedom to the kids throwing stones in the tanks. In the West, their lives are blessed, to go in your thanks. You need to go and give thanks. You need to go and give thanks. Big up, free Palestine. Thank you. Let's continue, guys, to raise awareness, you know, do whatever we can for the people, yeah? It's like, obviously, I respect it, free Palestine, but there's other countries suffering too, let's not forget about them, yeah? Free all of us. Big up, one love.
Thank you, Isaac. Next we have Will Harris. Will is the author of Rendang and Other Poem.
Hi, thanks Gayatri. It's really good to be here, especially to be in Tower Hamlets. This is actually where I work. I work in several like care homes. They're like technically extra sheltered accommodation, kind of dotted around this area. One towards Cumbria Road Market, one towards Roman Road, one by Langton Park, one by Mile End, and yeah, one of the best things about Tower Hamlets, I don't know if you've noticed, is the Palestinian flags everywhere. There are some streets which just every single lamppost has a Palestinian flag on it, and yeah, it's been really noticeable. And one of the things I've thought about a lot since, in the last what is it, two and a half months, is about proximity. and nearness, and I don't know, like maybe like a lot of people in this room, it's like brought up a lot of stuff. I feel like within a lot of people who are part of the global majority, there's a proximity to the experience of genocide and of forced displacement. In the mid-60s in Indonesia, where my family is from, there was a genocide where over 1 million Chinese Indonesians were killed, and my grandfather was imprisoned. My family fled from Sumatra, where they had lived for like several generations, to Jakarta, and my mum later immigrated here, and that was the kind of experience that it's very hard to kind of integrate into your life if you're growing up in London in a lot of ways. And the experience, I think that's why the experience of Palestine is the experience of so many people, and why in Tower Hamlets it's so near to so many people's experience, where obviously like the memory of partition is very near, memory of so many other things. So yeah, I'm going to read a poem by Mahmoud Darwish. It's from his sequence called 11 Planets in the Last Andalusian Sky. I don't know, maybe everyone knows this about the resonance of Andalusia for Palestinians, but Al-Andalus was the last Muslim-ruled territory in Europe, in mainland Europe, up until 1492. And for almost a millennia, it was this like center of culture, of learning, where they translated ancient Greek texts and developed like trigonometry and all this stuff. And it was also a place where different people coexisted peacefully: Christians, Jews, Muslims. And Darwish was writing this in 1992 when the Oslo Accords were being signed, and like a lot of people, he saw that as a betrayal of the Palestinians signing away of their like whatever autonomy they had, and a kind of accession to settler colonialism. And yeah, it's a very beautiful poem. And there was, yeah, I thought I'm just going to read one bit, which it's maybe one of the more like sentimental bits. It just kind of struck me as I was coming here. In the Great Migration, I love you more. In the Great Migration, I love you more. In a while, you'll lock up the city gates. My heart's not in your hands, I have no path to lead me. In the Great Migration, I love you more. After your breast, our balcony's pomegranate is milkless. Palm trees grow lighter, hills grow lighter, our streets grow lighter in the late afternoon. Earth grows lighter since it bid farewell to the earth. Words grow lighter, stories grow lighter on night's spiral staircase, but my heart is heavy. Let it howl around your house, bemoaning the perfect time, the golden age that is past. I have no homeland, but in migration, I love you more. I empty my soul of final statements. I love you more in migration. Butterflies lead our spirits. In migration, we remember shirt buttons we lost. Forget the glittering crowns of our days. Recall the scent of apricot sweat. Forget the dancing horses on our wedding nights. In migration, we're equal to birds. Have mercy on our days. Get by with little. I survive with a gold dagger dancing in my murdered heart. Kill me slowly, so I can say I love you more often than I said it before the Great Migration. I love you, and I'm beyond pain. Neither your breeze, your water, your morning basil, nor your evening lily can inflict any pain after this migration.
Thanks, Will. Next, we have Christy Koo. Christy is a poet, actor, and workshop facilitator She's worked with organisations including the BBC, Sky Arts, Apples and Snakes, and the Barbie. Hello everyone. Righty tighty lefty loosey. Thank you all so much for your beautiful words and readings this evening. Thank you so much, Catherine, for holding the space and organising it. It's been a really beautiful night for like collective grieving, collective healing, and just kind of drawing strength from each other and from our communities during this time. I have this first poem as in dedication to teenage girls and how they are such a force of power for culture, for political change, despite the fact that most societies kind of mock them because they're like teenagers and they're girls, and they like girly things, and how they refuse to be beaten down and they still persevere. A headline I enjoyed was TikTok saying it's not our algorithm, the kids are just pro-Palestine. Sorry. Okay. The revolution is a teenage girl. Girls sound like birds when they laugh. It angers men to hear it. They're so afraid to not know what we're laughing at, they throw stones until we scatter. But we know the sharpness of milk teeth, how it's all the better to bite back with. And we're coming for you, because that crown looks better on us. And they say we're too young to know anything, so why are we old enough to know how to hide when a shooting comes to our schools? How men eat our bodies whole, serve as death like we ordered it. How this world burns while they crush coal, spit diamonds, count coins, and let us eat chaos. And we are terrifying. They are the monsters under our beds. They sent us to more funerals than birthday parties, and no one taught us how to carry this world, but we have to take it from them. We have to. We're building rebellions in our bedrooms over pizza and pop music, and somehow we're still laughing. Because girls sound like birds when they laugh. And when you hear birdsong, you know dawn is coming. Thank you. Piece was written, we've lost two incredible poets this year, very abruptly, way too soon. We lost Boyego de Banjo, who was a friend of mine, very sudden, very abrupt, just shocked so many of us. And just a few days ago, Benjamin Zephaniah, who was an absolute titan, not just in poetry, not just in writing, but an incredible activist, always fighting against empire. He wanted to see a free Palestine in his lifetime, and maybe see it soon, even though he has passed. And this piece is written because we're so important, each of us, and there's so much messaging, particularly from like corporations and marketing, telling us, you know, that, oh, it's bad for us to age, it's bad for us to like exist, that we're so imperfect, and so please don't let them distract you from how precious each of our lives are and how all we have is each other. So this is, if you complain about getting old again, I will slap you. I want to see us age. I want to hear you make a funny noise when you stand up. I want to see you search for your glasses and then realize you're wearing them. I want to hear you retell the same story again and again and again. I want to hear you complain about your kids, those kids, all kids these days. I want to see your birthday cake grow heavy with candles until they might as well just set the cake on fire. I want to see you stagger in, pints drunk, arms raised in everyday victory. Us way too old to be cheering for that behaviour, but we're doing it anyway. Because some of our friends are locked in photos, smiling, beautiful, forever young, gone. And we'll never see them with grey hair and wrinkles. And I don't want to drink in your memory. I want to drink with you here.
dozing off because it's late-ish, sleepy-shouldered. The older we get, the more we are children again, wanting hot baths, early bedtimes, hot chocolate. May we only say goodnight at the end of a long life, so I won't be complaining about getting older, not when I'm with you. Thank you.
Thank you. I truly, truly pray we all do get to see ourselves and our loved ones age, and more people to age, and it's such a privilege. Thank you, Christine. Next, I'd like to welcome writer Fahad Alamoudi.
Thank you to everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you to Guy Theory for bringing us all together tonight. I was speaking to Elton before we started, and we were saying that there are spaces that are draining and there are spaces that are enriching and nourishing, and this is very much one of them. So thank you for creating that space. I've been thinking a lot about grief, and was reminded recently of the first ever Mahmoud Darwish poem that I read. So I'd like to share that one tonight. It's called The Cypress Broke, and it's translated by Ferdi Juda, and it starts with a small epigraph by Bassam Hajar, which goes, "The cypress is the tree's grief and not the tree. It has no shadow because it is the tree's shadow." The cypress broke like a minaret, and slept on the road upon its chapped shadow, dark, green, as it has always been. No one got hurt. The vehicles sped over its branches. The dust blew into windshields. The cypress broke, but the pigeon in a neighboring house didn't change its public nest, and two migrant birds hovered above the hem of the place and exchanged some symbols. And a woman said to her neighbor, "Say, did you see a storm?" She said no, and no bulldozer either, and the cypress broke. And those passing by the wreckage said, "Maybe it got bored with being neglected, or it grew old with the days. It is long like a giraffe, and little in meaning like a dust broom, and couldn't shade two lovers." And the boy said, "I used to draw it perfectly. Its figure was easy to draw." And the girl said, "The sky today is incomplete because the cypress broke." And the young man said, "But the sky today is complete because the cypress broke." And I said to myself, "Neither mystery nor clarity. The cypress broke, and that is all there is to it. The cypress broke." Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Pam. Okay, our final poet of the evening, Prerna Kumar, Prina is an Indian writer and spoken word artist based in London. Their work appears in The Telegraph, Magma, and The Poetry, among others. Their debut pamphlet, Ixora, is out with Gemo Press.
Can everyone hear me okay? Hi everybody, how are we doing? It's been a very nourishing, very beautiful evening, and I'd like to thank Gayatri again for hosting this space and giving us that space to breathe and feel. And this is what I've been thinking about a lot lately, how to stay open to feeling everything, how to keep your heart open in times of such unimaginable violence, and the belief that feeling itself is also resistance, no matter what that feeling is. Today I'll be reading 3 poems. The first poem is by the Palestinian poet Rifat Alawi, who was killed a few days ago. And he was hailed as one of Palestinians, like in the contemporary age, a great academic and writer who's inspired so many young minds. And the loss of him kind of really made me also think about the demolition of schools and universities and knowledge centers in Gaza and Palestine, and also how language is being weaponized in the propaganda machine. But this poem was pinned to his Twitter at least a month before he died. If I must die. If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze, and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite, you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale. The second poem I'll read tonight is by a Pakistani poet, Faiz Ahmed Faiz. And the reason I chose this poem is because there is a long lineage of South Asian solidarity with Palestine. India was one of the first countries to recognize Palestine as a country and also to recognize the PLO. And writers have been writing in solidarity with each other for years. And recently, under the Hindutva government, which is rising with its fascism, and it is in cahoots with Israel's propaganda machine. It's only Israel's narratives that are being projected on screens, and I was having lots of conversations with my family members about the reality of that and trying to unpack that for them. And I didn't know how to kind of make them see that it was propaganda, and one of the ways I started doing that was sending them these pieces of work of old South Asian writers, and I could see it like undoing the work in their heads and making them realize the reality of the situation. So this poem was written in 1980. It's called Palestinian Martyrs Who Were Slain in Foreign Lands. When I go out in the world, beloved land, the pain of your abasement inflames my heart, but there are rewards. Your dignity enhances mine. Your love walks with me. Your citrus groves fragrance my mouth. Friends I've never met go with me. Their hands I've never clasped make mine invincible. Far away on indifferent foreign highways or in unfamiliar streets of alien cities, wherever I unfurl the banner of my blood, there waves Palestine's flag. Enemies have destroyed one Palestine, but my agony has given birth to countless Palestine. I'm going to end with Mahmoud Darwish poem, this is the first poem I ever read of his, and I returned to his work again and again. I belong there. I belong there. I have many memories. I was born as everyone is born. I have a mother, a house with many windows, brothers, friends, and a prison cell with a chilly window. I have a wave snatched by seagulls, a panorama of my own. I have a saturated meadow. In the deep horizon of my word, I have a moon, a bird's sustenance, and an immortal olive tree. I have lived on the land long before swords turned man into prey. I belong there. When heaven mourns for her mother, I return heaven to her mother. And I cry so that a returning cloud might carry my tears. To break the rules, I have learned all the words needed for a trial by blood. I have learned and dismantled all the words in order to draw from them a single word. Home.
Thank you. Okay, so that concludes our evening.